So for girls, like they cannot really push up. So do you recommend them doing like plank? How would I know?
If you have good genetics or not?
Chest,
shoulders, legs,
and the
back,
leg glute.
everything. Coach Greg, and I'm here with Aurora, and she's the first one to give it a try in my brand new home workout gym. It's almost complete. And so we're gonna go through basically a full body workout, and she has trained in the past, but it's basically gonna be a beginner workout. We're gonna give you some tips, make sure the form's good. Let's get started.
Yeah, I'm so honored. I'm the first one.
First one. And so first is for the chest. This is the chest press. It's a hoist machine, so it pushes some of your body weight. So this is to get you started. You don't need it.
Oh,
so you can start like this and just push. Or you can push up like this, get it in position a little bit.
Get in position.
And now that you're ready, you can put your feet here. But your feet would be here in general. Go down slow as you want. Push up a bit quicker. Take your time on the way down. Most people, they just basically push. They think it's a race. You really want to go slow on the way down. I like to tell people twice as slow on the way down as on the way up. So if you think say 2 seconds up, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. So if you do that, you're exercising control. You get that better mind muscle connection, less chance to get injured. As opposed to most people, they'd say, I'm gonna show off and they're gonna put the weight way down and it gets too heavy. So give that a try. You can push it up if you need to get that help at the start. And depending on your grip, more chest is the wide and more arms is the close.
More arm is the close.
Yeah, the closer you have your hands, the more you're gonna feel the tricep, which is the muscle back here. You can even grab in the center if you want, but that's the way I like to do it. Excellent. So he's working on the chest muscles all up in here. You can see our muscles being moved in this way. That's the muscles being flexed. And so you want to warm up with about 15 repetitions. You don't want to go too heavy. If it's hard before you get to 15, then you started with too much weight. So this looks like a good speed. So you can see she's going slow on the way down, taking her time, and then she's driving it up a bit more power on the way back up. And it shouldn't feel hard. How does it feel?
I feel like I can do it, but I need to try. It's harder than my routine. It's harder.
Harder than you've lifted weights before?
Yes.
How many times do you think you could have done that? If I said, I'll pay you $1,000 for every rep, could you have done 30, 25?
I think 40.
All right, so that is a very easy warm-up. So you wouldn't need more lighter than that. I was concerned that you were thinking it was a bit too heavy, but in general, if you can get double the reps that you're doing on the first set, then that's perfect. If you said, oh, I would only got 20 and you did 15, it's probably too hard. But if you can get 40 or 50 reps, it's just a warm-up. So when you first start, you want the muscles to work, but not hard.
Yes.
And so how did you feel? Did you feel like it was too easy or too hard?
I feel like it's in the middle. It's in the middle for me.
So I think it was actually a good weight. Perhaps you're not used to it, but that is about the weight that I would recommend. Something that's not very challenging. And then once you stop, you would give yourself a rest, maybe rest 1 or 2 minutes, and then you could do it again. Or what I like to do is I like to go through the entire machines, and then you get that workout done. Then you do it again the second set. So you do rounds.
So you do rounds.
Yes.
Like chest, shoulders,
legs, back, everything.
Yeah, do everything out. That's
it's called circuit training. And so this is how I generally train. I train my whole body in one day. And I just go from machine to machine, and then while my chest is resting, I might do my back, and then I might do my triceps, and then I do my legs, and I keep going in a circuit. And so you can get a very good workout done in a short period of time. And it works your cardio as well.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's what I want to say. From my knowledge, I thought that was like, you can do that as your cardio as well, right? It's called
circuit training.
Circuit training.
Yes, you go from one machine or station and you go to the next machine or station and you keep rotating. When you're more like a bodybuilder, you would sit on this machine for maybe 15 minutes and you'd go really heavy and just squeeze, and then you'd rest for like 3 minutes and then you do it again. But where I like to get my whole body in, it's more of a general fitness thing and routine, and obviously it's working. I still have plenty of muscle, and this is how I train. I do it about 3 days every 3 days, so not that often. Yeah,
so you can burn calories as well. Right?
Burning calories, my heart rate is up, I feel I'm in more shape, I'm getting more fit. And for a lot of people that don't want to go to the gym, they don't want to just sit there and rest, because you do a set and you sit. Really, you're just sitting for 2 or 3 minutes.
Yeah, you can do another part of your body.
Yeah, so rather than sitting and resting, why not get up and do the next exercise. And so let's give another exercise a try. Let's try the hoist triceps. And so now that you have gotten the hang of it a little bit, you can put your feet on this part, and you're going to do the same thing with the 1, 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. And this, it can adjust. Here is more for your triceps, and here is more for your chest. So depending on where you're trying to hit, if you're like, I really want to work on my arms, then the closer is better. And you just push to look straight ahead, and we'll see how it goes. Remember, 15 reps. So it should feel like you can get, if you can get 30 or more, it's a good warm up.
Okay.
Should be easy, but not like too easy, or not, and it should not be hard. If you said, wow, I don't know if I can get 15, then it's definitely too hard.
I think this one is kind of like, this weight is kind of like warm up, if according to what you said.
So compared to that, this one's a bit easier.
I feel like this one is easier.
And this is working more the chest, and we have the same weight, so it's possible that for you, your triceps are stronger than your chest, and that's why this machine is easier. But what you do in general is when you go to a gym, you start with a lighter weight than you think, because you can always go heavier. So you would do this entire circuit, and the next time you'd put a bit heavier. And then you, instead of doing 15 reps, you could do 12 reps, or maybe even 10 reps.
Yes. So this one, I feel like I think I can do 50.
Perfect. So you would do 15 reps, and then you stop, no problem. Take your time though. You can make, the slower you go, the harder it's going to be. And then after you get 15 reps, we can then walk over to the next.
No, this one, I said 50.
50, yeah, that's exactly. No, so what I'm saying is, so she's saying that she could do 50 reps with this, which means it's very easy. And so that's perfectly okay, especially the first time you're using a machine. It's better to learn how to do an exercise with a weight that's very easy or light for you. Because after you've done the entire order of exercises, you can then put the weight up. So you could do it there. So that's up one notch. Give that a try. See how it feels.
Oh,
so
that's much harder.
45 pounds instead of 30 pounds. And so you could do the entire thing twice, and then the next time, just give it a rest. The next time you go through, put it down another notch. Now this should feel quite heavy.
Oh, this is heavy.
Yes, so every time you do a set, you could do 3 or even 4 rounds. Every time you do a set, you can go up a different circuit and do less reps. You might get 15 reps, then you might get 12, then you might get 10, and then if you're really ambitious, want to train really hard, you might then get 8 on the last set. So it allows your body to kind of warm up to it and get used to it. So depending on how much time you want to spend in the gym, or how many machines you're going to do, you might do only 2 of each, you might do 3 of each, you might only do 1 of each. If you're the first day, if you've never trained in the gym in your life, I would say just do the very lightest weight, the bottom of the rack, and I would say do 15 reps and stop, because you never know. That might, even though it's a little bit, it might be easy, the next day you might be sore.
Yes.
So let's move on to another one. Let's go for the shoulders. There's not much to it. You're just gonna sit on the handle. These machines are very easy because they kind of guide themselves. You don't have a dumbbell where you might lose your balance. Just push straight ahead over your head. Yeah, and you can see the body is bending back as you're pushing it.
Yes.
You see it, this is the hoist machines. Your body is moving back and forth as you're pressing. So the focus here is to go slow on the way down. Basically, if you could count to 4 in your head, 4 seconds down, and then 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. You could almost do it to music.
Yes. So this, in English, I thought this might be isometric.
Isometric, so you have concentric, isometric, and eccentric.
This is
concentric would be like when you're pushing up. Eccentric would be on the way down. And then like an isometric exercise
would
would be
like this.
If you just flex, or if I just grab the machine and I do this but I don't move.
Isometric.
Or if you're arm wrestling and no one's moving, that would be like isometric.
Yes.
Anything is good, but my opinion is a full range of motion where you're working the full length of the muscle all the way up, all the way down, taking your time on the way down. That's the best way. 1, 2, 3, 4. And the reason we're going slower on the eccentric is your body is 30% stronger on the way down than on the way up. So you're making it harder and more challenging by taking your time.
So for girls, they normally they really can do push-up. I mean, girls in my country, like some of them, like they cannot really push up. So do you recommend them doing like plank and to, you know, just do eccentric?
It's a really good question. And in general, men are a lot stronger, especially in their upper bodies, than women. Women in general and to men are about the same pound for pound. But what we do is modified push-up. So the basic beginner, or the most difficult push-up basically would just be like your regular push-up.
Yes.
After that, modify, we would go on our knees If you can't do a full push-up, you would do the same thing on your knees. And after that, and I used to teach this to kids in grade primary, hardly anyone could do the push-ups. We would just go against the wall and you just lean forward and you push like this. So this is your most beginner. And the
most beginner.
Yeah, the heavier you are, the closer you would get to the wall. So I mean, if you're 500 pounds, you might have a hard time just doing this because your 500 pounds are leaning against the wall. So you would start like this, and then as you get more fit, you can go further back. And if you want to work more triceps, your hands would be closer. You're working a lot more tricep, and if you want to just focus more on the chest, the wider your hands can get. Then you progress to the floor where you're on your knees, and then you can get your knees off the ground. And then you can get even more advanced with like one arm push-ups, things like that, or maybe clapping and push-ups like that.
That's how you gain your upper body strength.
Yeah, you can progressive overload from starting against the wall to on your knees to with no knees, then adding more reps or slowing it down. You could say, I'm going to hold myself down here for like 5 seconds and then push up.
That's really good advice.
So many ways to get
from
better.
the wall and to the ground with knee and without knee.
Absolutely, yeah. So if you had a complete beginner, never did a push-up before, and you didn't think they could do a push-up, you just start them against the wall. They could do the first, they could be their warm-up like this. And then, okay, the next round, we're gonna come in, we're gonna go on our knees, and we're gonna do push-ups like that. Try to get to 15. And if they could do the 15, be like, okay, now let's try some really difficult push-ups and try them like that. So that's a great way to progress. So any exercise can be modified like that. Like if you had a squat bar, you're trying to squat and they can't squat, well, don't take the bar. Just have them put their hands on their knees and see if they can go up and down like that. Or maybe they can sit on a chair and get up and just work on doing whatever they can do. Shall we try this one? The legs, or well, adductors and adductors. This, if you put your knees in, like your legs inside, you're gonna push out.
I love this one.
We're working on the abductors.
Yeah, I used to do this one like every time.
Handles are here. These are often neglected muscles by guys. Women, they seem to do these all the time. Men often forget about it. I used to ignore this myself, and my muscles were not balanced. So this, you want to go as hard and as high as you can. Try to hold it right at the top, right here. Pause, and then take your time coming back.
I saw people in the gym, like girls, they were doing
That's exactly what I thought. So people are trying to focus more on the glute medius by leaning forward. You don't need to do that. It's not important. Like I think people overemphasize that. It's easier. When you lean forward, the weight gets a lot easier. It's much easier. So I think that people are ego lifting a bit. Like when I put like even 100 pounds here and I sit up straight, it's very hard. If I lean forward, I can do all of the weight. And so a lot of times they're just kind of like, oh, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna like show them how much weight I can lift. And they just make it easier. Kind of like when bench pressers, they bounce it off their chest. So you don't need to lean forward, it's not essential. They're just trying to focus on that, but you're already focusing on that by doing this. Doesn't need to be done. But that's a great question because I thought that's what you were gonna ask. I was like, almost all the girls you see, they'll start leaning forward and doing it. It's not necessary.
It's not necessary, but it's good for Instagram post.
Yeah, it looks good, definitely. And you can give this a stop here and we will switch it to the outside. Just stop for a second, just to, because we're basically,
I like this. Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna demo to the audience how to do this. So this is kind of a 2-in-1.
Oh yeah, most gym they don't have that. They have 2 machines.
Yeah. So what is okay?
I think it's like this, right?
Yeah. So you just can you get it flexible? You're probably flexible now.
Super flexible. Like
Yeah,
this.
it rotates in like this, so it's a lot less space because if you have a home gym, it's hard to have every single machine. This one for me is a lot harder. It's working the inner thighs, adductor muscles. And just take your time on the outside. That's important to basically work that eccentric motion. If it's too easy, you can always go slower. The slower you go, the harder it is. People kind of think you need a really heavy weight, but if you use a light weight and take your time, it makes it much harder. That looks good. And the pause at the top, if you want to make it harder, like you can hold it, squeeze right at the top right here. You can almost feel your legs shake and then slowly let it down. A lot of people forget about the squeezing. They just want the most weight that they can put. Rather than thinking I want more weight, I think, how can I make this exercise harder so that I don't need a heavy weight?
Yes.
When I was a kid, I would want a whole stack. I'm just trying to show off. But then I got older, you get some injuries, and like, wait a minute, that doesn't make sense. I should lighten the weight and really focus on how it feels.
Yes. it feels much harder than this.
Especially that squeeze, because you can just bounce it back and forth and swing it along, and all of a sudden you're injured and you're just showing off. So there's no point. And you basically go as far as is comfortable. Like if you could go a little bit further, all the way to the plate touches, that's good. But if you feel too much of a stretch, you don't want to get hurt. So not everyone is the same range of motion. Some people are more flexible than others.
Some people can only get here.
If you can only get here on the way in, it means it's too heavy. You should be able to come till it touches. But if you can't go all the way down back, it's because you don't have the flexibility inside. Then I would recommend a lot more stretching.
No, I mean the hip joint.
Yeah.
Some people, they cannot get it.
No,
here.
exactly. They're not flexible enough.
Yeah, they can only get here.
Yeah.
Right? So they have to put the machine started here.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and if you don't have the flexibility, I would suggest you stretch. So for example, you could start with a stretch like this where you're opening up your hips. This would feel like, I'm fairly flexible for being like this.
Can you forward? Can you like?
Definitely cannot. This is about it. This is about comfortable for me. But you don't want to overdo it. Like a lot of people stretch and they're just like cheating or bouncing, and it's like, no, you're gonna get hurt. Just take your time. You can do various stretches.
Oh, you are really flexible.
So at least I can reach. I don't stretch often, but like it's not too bad.
Yes, people when they train their muscle like really big, normally they will lose the flexibility or the mobility of the joint.
We used to call it being muscle bound when we were kids. They're like, you're muscle bound. If you lift weights, you're not going to be able to move. But it's only because you're not stretching. There's people who are like 300-pound bodybuilders and they're doing the full splits because they keep their muscles active. They're stretching. It's important.
Yes. And the gymnastic too.
Let's try seated rows. So this one I'll demonstrate first. So you can put your feet on the bottom like this, and you want your chest up high. Grab the handles. Your chest is up high, your head's up high. Lean forward, get a good stretch. You'll feel a little bit of a hamstring stretch in here, just so you're aware of it. Your lats are stretching out in the front as well. Pull in. And don't lean back like this. A lot of people, they kind of like think they're rowing a boat and they just really go back. Stay upright and pull this into your stomach. You get your shoulders back like that. So stretch and squeeze. Hold it if you can right here. Stretch and squeeze. So you notice I'm upright. A lot of people will lean far like that backwards. You don't want to do that.
Okay.
Chest up high.
Chest up high.
Yeah, and you got a good stretch and squeeze. Yeah.
Stretch.
Yeah. And so that all I'm looking for is that your scapulars are stretching right here, which it is like that. Yeah. Your hair is blocking it, but it is. That's good. And it should feel like you can get 30 reps or more again. So 15 probably going to feel a little bit tiring, but I'm sure it's about the right weight.
Yes, I can do like about 15 to 18.
Yeah, it looks good.
Yes.
So you can see you're working the back on this exercise, but there's definitely some biceps that are being worked.
Yes, obviously.
So even without training your arms, if you train your whole body, you're automatically going to be working out your arms. Because when you did your chest and your shoulders, you're working out your triceps. And when you're doing your back and pulls or back pulls like this, you're also working your biceps. So even if you don't focus on the arms specifically, for most women, you're probably going to get enough of a workout just by training the rest of your body. And this is good for females and for males because it builds up your lats, so it makes your waist look smaller. So by doing this exercise, you're gonna have more muscle up here, and then that will make your waist shrunk down. So you get that kind of like that hourglass look where it comes down to a point, the V shape. So that's one thing that this can do.
Some people, they would say the hourglass shape is genetic.
It's absolutely genetic, which can be improved by what you're training. So you would want bigger shoulders. So just imagine.
How would I know? How would I know?
If you have good genetics or not?
No, how would I know? Because some people, they train, right? They have like H shape, just straight shape.
More ectomorphic frame.
And after they trained, they had the hourglass shape. Hourglass waist. So they didn't know that had that genetic. So how would they know that?
You will never know until you do it. It's kind of like How do I know if I have good genetics to put on muscle? Well, train for 5 years, then you'll know. Because you can't look, I can't just look at a 6-year-old and say, wow, if you train, you'll be a Mr. Olympia. I can't look at a 15-year-old because it says it takes years to learn about your body and how much muscle it can put on. If you train for 5 hard years and you haven't really gained much, your genetics are probably not that good. Doesn't mean you shouldn't try, but you will never know until you've put in that effort. For example, you might be a champion bike rider if you tried, but you don't know because you've never trained on a bike ride. And you know, if you 5 years of bike racing, you might be super fast, but until you've experienced it or practiced it, you can't really know.
And how do I know, did I reach the ceiling of my own genetic?
A great question.
Right.
You never really know because you never know if you're training everything perfect. So let's say you train for 5 straight years and you can't improve anymore. Well, maybe you're not training hard enough. Maybe your diet isn't good, or maybe you're not resting enough between sets, or maybe you're not pushing yourself to your limit. So you don't really know. But in general, most people can gain for at least 10 to 15 years from when they start. So if you start at 15 or 20, you could probably train and get better to your 30 or 35, and that's probably how long you'll improve.
So just
keep going.
Why don't give it a try to see how far is your limit, right?
Absolutely.
How high is your ceiling?
Most people give up before they ever get there. Most people will train for 3 years, 5 years if you're lucky, and then they quit. And so they never really know how far they could have gone.
Yeah.